Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at column vectors. Before we begin, let's just have a quick recap about vectors. So if we have a vector like this with a top number 3 and a bottom number -2, this is equivalent to going 3 to the right and 2 down. Now the reason for that is this top number here tells you whether you're going to go left or whether you're going to go right. If it's positive, you're going to go right. If it's negative, you're going to go left. The bottom number tells you whether you go up or down. If it's positive, you're going to go up. If it's negative, you're going to go down. So a 3 on the top tells you 3 right, -2 on the bottom tells you 2 down. Just quickly test yourself, write down what these vectors correspond to in terms of left, right, up and down. Remember the top number is left or right, the bottom number is up and down. Press pause and have a go at these. Okay, so the answers to these, the first one is 4 to the right and 5 up. We then have 2 to the left with 6 up. We then have 1 to the left with 3 down. And then finally 2 to the right with 1 down. Okay, so if I take this vector again, 3, -2, we know that means 3 right and 2 down. We could draw that on a diagram like this. So if I started here and went 3 squares to the right and 2 squares down, I would end up here. So this is an arrow representing that vector. What if then I was to do 3 lots of that vector, 3a? Now that corresponds to doing this vector 3 times. So I do it once, and then where I get to I do it again, and then where I get to I do it again. So if this vector here was 3 and then 2, the overall vector here, which goes all the way across there and all the way down here, would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares down. So 9 right and 6 down. So 3a would be 9 and then -6 for the 6 down. So to work out 3a, all I do is take a, and if you notice, I multiply this number by 3, and then I multiply this number by 3. So you just times by 3. What about -a then? Now -a is just the same as this vector, but instead of starting here and ending here, I go in the opposite direction. I start here and I end here. So it's a bit like flipping the arrow back round the other way. So for this vector, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go 3 left and 2 up. So 3 left is -3 and 2 up is a +2. So when you have a negative vector, you just take the original vector and then swap all of the signs. So the 3 becomes a -3, the -2 becomes a 2. Finally then, how do we add vectors together? So if I take a new vector here with 1, 3, I draw my original vector, there's vector A, and here's my vector B, so that's 1 right, then 3 up. If I were to add them together, what I do is I do vector A first, and then I do vector B from wherever I finished vector A. So I need to move this vector to the end. So vector A, and then wherever I get to, I do vector B, and then I finish here. So the combined result of both of these vectors added together is going from here to here, all in one go, which is 4 to the right and 1 up. So this final vector would be 4 and then 1. And you can get that by adding 3 and 1, which gives you the 4, and -2 add 3 gives you the 1. So to add vectors together, you simply add the top numbers and then add the bottom numbers. Let's have a look at how we do this in some examples then. So 4a, we did that earlier, so you just multiply everything in vector A by 4. So here's vector A, so instead of 6 times 4, 24, and instead of 3 times 4 is 12. What about A plus C then? So I need to take vector A and vector C and add them together. Vector A is 6, 3, vector C is -4, -2. So I add together the top numbers here. 6 add -4, that's the same as 6 take 4, so that gives me 2 for my top number. And then 3 add -2, that's the same as 3 take away 2, which is 1. So A add C would be 2, 1. And for this final question here, we have 3a. So what I'll do is I'll work out 3a first. 3a is just 3 lots of 6 and 3, so 3 6s are 18, 3 3s are 9, and 2b, well, I need to do 2 lots of negative 2 and 1, so 2 lots of this one here, 2 lots of negative 2 is negative 4, and I do 2 lots of 1, which is 2. So 3a take away 2b, I need to do 18, 9, there's my 3a, take away my negative 4, 2. So 18 take away negative 4, when you take away a negative, that's the same as adding, so it's a bit like 18 add 4, which is 22, then 9 take away 2, 7. Okay, here are 3 questions for you to have a go at with column vectors. Press pause, have a go at these questions. When you want the answers, press play and I'll tell you what they were. Okay, here are the answers to these then. So 5b, we just need to do 5 lots of 3 negative 2, so we end up with 15 and negative 10. A plus b plus c, so we're going to add together all 3 of these. So a is 7, 2, 3 negative 2 for b, and negative 3, 1. So 7 add 3, on the top's 10, then take 3, brings me back to 7, and on the bottom 2 take away 2 is 0, add 1 is 1. For this one, 5b, well 5b equals 15 negative 10, just like I had in the first question. 2c equals negative 6 and 2, and then I'm going to add these together. So I have 15 negative 10 add negative 6, 2. So 15 add negative 6 is just like 15 take 6, so that's 9. Negative 10 add 2 is negative 8. And that's the end of this video on column vectors.